welcome on in to another episode of Getting Wild with Terry and Friends, Sunday NFL edition. I'm Terry, Will beside me, Dave down below, and we are going to go over Sunday sports. We do have a couple hockey games. There is some basketball, but there's no lines for the NBA available yet for tomorrow. So basically, this is going to be mostly a football show. And it'll probably be a bit of a shorter show because I don't have a whole lot on this NFL slate. I will have liked the other previous weeks a lot more, not too much on this slate. But obviously on the weekends, we don't start with the record because the record has not been updated. So, of course, the updated record will be on Monday. So make sure to tune in for that. We'll get started by looking at the early games, all the games starting at 1 p.m. Eastern, the early slate. And I'll kind of just give my opinions on the ones that I obviously don't have plays for. Philly and Indianapolis. Philly minus 6.5, 45, mostly with the total. That's a pass for me. Philly coming off their first loss, which is awesome. It allows the Vikings a chance to kind of catch up to them and possibly win the conference. So Philly losing helps the Vikings, but I'm definitely not taking Indianapolis. I don't care how many points it is. I'm definitely not backing them in any form, but not taking the Eagles at this price either. Rams have a ton of injuries in New Orleans. Again, not a game I'm interested in. Don't really want to back either team, especially the Rams without Cooper Kupp and like they're injury ridden. So I don't want to take them, but I don't trust the New Orleans Saints either. Chicago, Atlanta. I hate to sound like a broken record. I hate this week's NFL slate. Chicago, Atlanta. Lean with Atlanta, but I'm not putting my money on it. Washington, Houston. Washington, Houston. Look at these matchups we have today. This for this week. This is absolutely awful. Washington, Houston. Another game I have zero intention of putting my money on whatsoever. New York Jets and New England. This is the one I want to bet the New York Jets. But if you have looked at what the New York Jets do against New England, that is lose. Lose. I think they've lost at least 15 straight in New England. These two teams, New England owns the New York Jets. Obviously, a lot of that was with Tom Brady. So you have to keep that in mind. This is a different New England team. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. New England has won 11 straight at home against the Jets going back to 2011. And that includes a 54-13 win last year and 28-14 win the year before, both without Brady. So I want to take the Jets, but I can't against New England. If it was any other team, Jets plus 3.5, I would take it, but I can't against New England. Detroit and New York Giants. I am on New York Giants -3, or I will be. Sorry. I want to back the Giants. They're a team that has playoff aspirations. The division is in their grasp as well after Philly's loss last week. So I think we get a motivated Giants team at home. Obviously, I'd love to get 2.5, but I'll take the 3. I think they probably win this game by like 4 to 7 points against the Lions. Carolina and Baltimore. Baltimore -11. No thanks. Carolina, no thanks. I'm sorry, everybody, but this slate is absolutely awful. Cleveland and Buffalo. Everyone and their mother was on the under, thinking that the game would get played in Buffalo with 6 inches of snow. Obviously, that's not happening. So some of the people that bet under, obviously some books voided it, some books didn't. So some people are getting burned big time by taking that under. I completely stayed off this game until finding out the information, and I will still not be on it because I'm not taking Buffalo -8. But I'm sure as hell not taking the Cleveland Browns because they're the Cleveland Browns. So 1 p.m. slate for me, it's the Giants, and that is it. That is it for me. Will, NFL early games, definitely not the best slate of the year, that's for sure. What do you think about any of these?
Yeah, so actually I was watching that line go down, and I think it was 42.5 a couple days ago. And I texted a group of my friends, and I'm like, when this hits 41, we're hitting the over. And the next day it was at 41. And I don't know if you know DraftKings rules, but they don't void. So we were going to get, I have a 41 right now for this Ford Field game. I was happy to get it in the snowstorm, 41, but I'm so much happier to get it in the dome. For this week, the one thing that stands out to me is the Bears at plus 130. I just don't really see them as plus 130 dogs against this Falcons team with a better quarterback and what seems to be an offense that's kind of getting it together the last few weeks. So that number jumps out to me. I also like the Bills minus 4.5 in the first half. I think they're going to jump out against this Browns team. I think they're much better than them. Colts plus 7. I would have much rather had the plus 7.5, but Colts 7 points seems like a lot. The Eagles are good, but we saw they have some weaknesses, and the Colts have a very good defense. So I think this could be a closer game than the books see. And lastly, I agree with the Giants look. I think the Giants are a better team. I think a field goal at minimum is a solid play.
All right. Dave, early games in the NFL slate. Do you think they're awful like I do, or do you like some of these games?
So I agree with you and disagree with you. A lot of these games would be awful to watch, but boy, this is one of my favorite slates to bet. And that's how it is with me. If you've watched anything, I'm not. If it's a big game, probably USC UCLA is the biggest game that I bet this year. I don't like those games, but let me go down the list because I like a lot of them. I'll talk with Buffalo. This is in consideration. I have 4 circa picks already picked. This is in consideration, even though I'm laying the wood with this one. Buffalo should be pissed about last game. They are much better team than the Vikings. Are a much better team than the Browns. And the reason why they lost that game, by the way, their defense stuffed the Vikings on the 1 yard line. They lost that game because it was all Josh Allen's fault. He lost that game. It's all on him. It wasn't the center's fault. It wasn't anything else. He actually should have taken a safety. I don't know if that was his call. That was bad coaching there because you take a safety and you're out. It would have screwed up my 5-0 circa day. But either way, Buffalo's going to be out for blood. They're playing indoors. Eating off fine china and silver plated. So like they went from playing in hell to playing in a dome. So I like that. I'm getting, by the way, I have them as 11-point favorites. So I'm getting, what's that? 3.5 points of value. So that's that game. I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm taking the Colts too over Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia is one of the best teams in football. I said that before the season. They might even go to the Super Bowl. They still might. Problem is they're coming down a little bit and they're regressing. The other thing is, who knows if this weird Jeff Saturday thing is gonna make a difference. Anything can make a difference. The Colts were absolutely horrible. Matt Ryan coming back in. I don't know why they benched him in the first place. That was dopey for Ellinger. But I'm getting 3 points of line value. I have the Eagles as only 3.5-point favorites. So that's definitely there. Love the Giants. Again, I'm getting going back to my indexes. I'm getting 3 points of value. I have them 6-point favorites. They've sold me. They've actually sold me more than the Jets have, and that was the other way around a couple of weeks ago. And this has to do with Saquon Barkley coming back and being a dude. He isn't getting hurt like he usually does. And Dable might be the coach of the year. We'll see. We'll see what happens. He's in the contention for that. But we might see 3 teams come out into the NFC East into the playoffs. That's crazy because usually that division has 1 and they don't deserve to be there anyway. So that's that. What else do we got here? I might be taking. I'm going to think about it. It's either the Blackhawks or the Texans for my dog of the day for the show. Washington has been playing well. Heineke's been playing well. Just seems like a letdown spot to me. It's more of a gut play, and I hate those. but my dog, it's either that or the Blackhawks, and that's just me taking a shitty team and liking them too. So tomato, tomato. Anyway, no Carolina, Baltimore, don't care. Jets, New England. I think you're silly if you take the Jets, even though the New England's bad, because New England does own the Jets. Belichick owns them. And the Rams, New Orleans, that's a bum fight.
All right. I would like to mention, going back to something you said earlier in that breakdown, the Buffalo Bills blew a 17-point lead to the
They won the game.
So even if Josh Allen did lose the game, the Buffalo Bills, who have been the best team defensively all season long, blew a 17-point lead to the Vikings. So the Vikings are better than a lot of people.
Their defense didn't do anything.
Best team defensively without Micah Hyde and Tre'Davious White, the two best defensive players on the team. So I agree with Dave. They lost.
It was a miracle. They got a second chance, and the Vikings won in overtime. The Vikings outplayed.
All they had to do was snap that ball right out of the end zone. 2 points to the Vikings, and
well, they made their choice in the end. Right. In the end, everybody that had Buffalo 6.5, that was like, oh, Buffalo minus 6.5, 6.5, 6.5. Even with how the game ended, that one would have cashed.
I had him at 3.5. I got it before the news came in that I had him with.
Yeah, and that wouldn't have cashed either, regardless. So the Vikings 100. Are a better team than people are saying.
Case I don't know. Keenum, they wouldn't have made Case Keenum because Josh Allen's 6'5" and big. That's the only reason why they did that. They would have made Case Keenum have a safety. The coaches would have. If Case Keenum was playing that game, they would have won that game.
They would never have got to. If Case Keenum was playing that game, Vikings would have won by 21 points or more. That game would have been close.
You're going to love my best bet this week, and it has nothing to do with your team. But I have my best bet's going to be the Cowboys.
All right. Well, my dog of the day is the Vikings. Afternoon games, Vegas and Denver. Not a game I'll be touching. I'm not backing this Denver Broncos team whatsoever until they have a different coach, which they still do not. But I'm not taking the Vegas Raiders, who are a huge disappointment. Going on to the second game, Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. I'm on Cincinnati minus 3.5. I don't care what Tomlin does as an underdog at home. I don't care what Cincinnati has done against divisional opponents so far this year, which is lose 3 games. The first game against Pittsburgh, a 3-point loss with a not healthy Joe Burrow in the first game of the year. They still hung around in that game. Bengals get their revenge in Pittsburgh tomorrow and cover the spread convincingly. Dallas, Minnesota. Come on now. Everybody knows where I'm going in this game. I'm taking the team that has won for me, 8 weeks in a row? This team continues to win. That's the Minnesota Vikings at home. Yes, they're underdogs at home. The bookmakers love the Dallas Cowboys, and the bookmakers hate the Vikings. What do the Vikings have to do? Not just bookmakers, too, but a lot of people in general saying that this team is a fluke, blah, 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 blah. What does this team have to do to convince people that they're the real deal? Do they have to go 16-1? Because I'm not going to put that off the table as impossible. I think this Vikings team continues to win, including at home here against Dallas Cowboys, who played a pathetic game against the Green Bay Packers. Give me Vikings money line, and I may even take a step further and go Vikings minus 2.5, maybe even Vikings minus 4.5. Stay tuned.
I'll give you my Venmo.
I will go. Yeah, well, hey, I literally had somebody when I said that the Vikings would beat the Bills with Allen or with Keenum, it doesn't matter. I had somebody say that they were going to screenshot that for trolling later. And I never heard one little bit of trolling. In fact, I'm the one who messaged him and was like, what do we have here? But anyways, people can underestimate this Vikings team. They will beat the Cowboys, and they will still not get any respect. They'll be like, oh, you're at home, blah, 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 blah. This team will not get any respect. But that's fine. Just gives me a better number as I'm getting this week because of the disrespect. Will, afternoon games, the final 3 games of the afternoon. What do you think here?
Yeah, I think this is a solid place to just kind of sit back and watch some football. I don't really like any of these 3 games value-wise. I will say, as I know we're not allowed to talk bad about Minnesota sports on the show, but they've
No, you are. I may disagree with you, but
they've won
you're
7
right.
straight one-score games. Those are all flips of a coin, and a fact of the matter is, I don't know if they can keep that up if they continue to play close games. So I would probably side with the Cowboys here, but it seems like the sharp money's already come in on the Cowboys. So I would have probably sided a couple days ago.
All right. Any thoughts on Cincy Pittsburgh?
Disgusting number.
All right. Dave, afternoon games? I know you're not betting Cincinnati because you hate Joe Burrow because of the clothes he wears.
I don't hate Joe Burrow. I think that team caught lightning in a bottle. I think it's kind of showing this year, even though they're doing. I mean, they're going to go to the playoffs, but I don't know. No opinion. And Steelers are my other team too, but I bet against the Steelers more than any of my teams probably. Las Vegas, Denver. No, thank you. Here's the game of the day, as far as betting wise, and this is the crazy thing. My index has the Vikings as a 1.5 point favorite, which means Dallas is favored on neutral field according to the indexes. That doesn't, to me, here's the crazy thing. And by the way, let's put this to rest. I think I was higher on the Vikings than anyone else. I said they're winning the division. I think they've done very well this year. There's no way that you're going to tell me that when you get stopped on the 1 yard line and your fate relies on someone fumbling the ball, that happens and you play well after it. But there has to be an asterisk to it, and you can't call it a statement game. You can't do it. You can say they played well, but it relied on a miracle. It relied on a miracle that happened. They played well, though, and they're a good team, and they're going to win the division and go to the playoffs. Probably lose in the first round. But Dallas, it's because of Cousins. He's cursed. Get rid of him, and you're fine. You like him. I don't know. We all know this. He's not primetime guy.
This game is massive for their season, though, because they need that number 1 seed in a bye if they want to go far.
And they might get it, and they might win this game. This is why they might win this game. But here's why this stinks, the Camera Poop says. And I don't usually follow his line of logic, but I did on this one. Why does a team that's one loss, that's played well the whole season, that just beat the best team in the NFL or second best team in the NFL, whatever you want to say, the Chiefs, why is that team going home against the Cowboys, who are not a premier team? And why are the Cowboys favored? And why did the line move towards the Cowboy in favor of the Vikings? It went from 1, it opened at 1, it went to 1.5. That could be money. It was because of sharp money. It could be public money too. None of that makes sense. And that's a recipe for the perfect storm for a poopy bet. So I'm going against my indexes. Has nothing to do with me not liking the Vikings. I like the Vikings. And I'll say it a million times. They're a good team. Maybe not as much as Terry likes them, obviously. But this game, this line is they are going to rake in Vikings money, the books. That's what I think.
It's a spoopy line.
Yeah, so maybe books are doing that. Well, okay, I'll explain the first.
There could be a lot of reasons. Yeah.
The first thing is letdown spots. Like you said, they just beat the best team in football. Mm-hmm. Now they're heading home to face a Cowboys team that is very good and that is one of the top 10 teams in the NFL. So both of these teams are very similar. The odds should be very similar. Reason why Vikings are a dog, as I said previously, the books do not respect this team. 1-score games. Everyone says they're winning these games by flukes. Dallas has not won a lot of their games. They've won by like 20 points. So books do not respect Minnesota. That is why they're a dog here. In fact, they're making it more this whole poopy line thing is making people want to bet Dallas, which is what the books will ultimately want as well, because
they wouldn't move the line. They wouldn't move the line. They wouldn't move the line. They wouldn't add it. It wouldn't go from -1 to -1.5 if they wanted the money. It would hold the number.
And let's get off this week. Let's go back to last week. The Bills might be the best team in the NFL, but the Vikings, if we're having this conversation, are top 5.
Yep.
You were a 7.5 point dog.
Disrespect.
No, to me, the books are trying to tell us something. It's the books. It's a market and it's efficient, and they're telling us that the Vikings are not an 8-1 team.
They're going to lose. They're going to fall off the cliff. That's what they're saying.
They're going to make the playoffs, but the books are trying to tell us something, and I don't think they're trying to trick us into betting certain angles. They're trying to tell us that Minnesota isn't top 3.
Well, the books are wrong. The books are wrong.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
They're wrong. Like I said, Minnesota could win this game by 30 points. And it'll be like, oh, the Cowboys had a bad night. It's
No, if they win by 30 points-
one good win for the Vikings. Look at their other 8 wins where they won by 1. There'll always be
The Vikings win by double digits. They will for sure. It'll be a statement win.
The books will change their numbers next
They
week.
will, for sure.
I don't know about that. It's disrespect. But I would like the books to continue disrespecting the Vikings because I will just get a better number on them, like I am this week, because they should not be dogs against anybody. Whether that's books setting a trap.
I agree. They should not be a dog.
That's the reason why it's
Okay, yes, they should have been a dog against Buffalo. Yes, but they should not have been plus 7.5. That was
But they shouldn't be a
absolutely
dog this week. So why are they? There's always a why. That's the question.
It could be minus 110, minus 110. They're plus 115. It's not like they're huge dogs. It's, like I said, disrespect towards the Vikings, letdown spot. The fact that they only win games by 1 score, people thinking they're a fluke, like all of that is why the odds are how they are.
All of our pictures.
Richie says dog. Richie says dog. Yes, I like the dog in that game.
like
This one here, Sunday Night Football. Finally, we have a good primetime game. Like, we get a primetime game that's actually going to be a good one to watch. You can get Kansas City minus 220 to minus 250. Chargers plus 180 to plus 215. 5.5s. There are 5s available as well. 51.5s and 52. And 52.5 when it comes to the total. And for me, I have a 2-team parlay that I gave out on Picks and Parlays Power Hour, and that is Cincinnati Bengals money line and the Kansas City Chiefs money line, which I think is like plus 120 for my 2-teamer this week. I like the Chiefs to win this game, but I don't know if they cover 5.5. Both teams are having wide receiver injuries galore. Both of them have a lot of wide receivers out. Would make me possibly want to take the under as well, but I'm definitely not doing that with these 2 teams. I will take the Chiefs money line in parlays. That's the best way I can go with the Sunday Night Football. If I had to take a spread, if I was being forced to, then I'd probably take the Chargers plus 5.5. But I'll take the Chiefs money line. Will, Chiefs and Chargers, what do you think here?
I think I'd try and tease this game. I don't really have a game to partner it with at the moment, but I think getting through the numbers of 6, 7, 10, 11, I think that this would be a good tease game for the Chargers to plus 11.5.
All right. Dave, Sunday Night Football, Chiefs and Chargers, what do you think here?
Yeah, I lean to the Chiefs. Chiefs. I'm leaning to the Chargers. I'm getting a point of value. I wanted to make this a circle play. I'm not. It's probably going to be Buffalo between those 2. But anyway, this is a divisional game, and it's a primetime game. And I don't know where the numbers are exactly, but even if a couple of those hit overs the past couple weeks, that the trend still has to be around or over 60%. Even if it's over, 56, 57, I love it. So I'm going with the under. It is going up. I need to see how aggressively it has done that in the past, 8 hours, and then see if you want to wait and take it. It's going to be my over under, my total for the show. But division game, usually under. It's going down now.
It's at 52, so it's probably the high point.
Yeah, I think it is at the high point. I kind of feel that way. But which means I should bet it right after the show. But that's it. Primetime under, division under. 2 teams that people think the game's supposed to go over. It's an under.
All right. BetStamp, use code WILD in the referral code section. Do your line shopping. It really makes a difference in making the most money. Other picks, college, football, basketball. I do not have any of either. Will, any college picks tomorrow?
No, but while Dave talks, I'll run the 2 hockey games really quickly just in case. I don't think there's anything though.
All right, Dave.
I haven't capped basketball. That will be later this afternoon. I'll say that I am probably going to be on. Actually, it's going to be my pick. I'm going to do it anyways. Whenever I am automatically betting the Blackhawks when they're facing someone that's a $3 favorite or more. I'm also going to back them in spots where I feel like I'm getting some good value. I think they're a better matchup to the Penguins right now. It's plus 170. I think it's the best. I think that line should be lower. I think the Penguins aren't as good of a team. Actually, they're definitely not as good of a team as people thought. And I think the Blackhawks are a better team than people in the books think. You're talking about disrespectful lines. Let's talk about the Blackhawks. Even though they're a bad team, I think we're probably getting at plus 170. This is just off being a sports bettor for so long and not knowing that much about hockey, but just my feel about where it should be. I think the Blackhawks should be plus 140. That's where I think it should be. I think I'm getting 30 cents of value. And that's enough for me to move on a dog at home.
All right. NBA picks. We do have a couple NBA lines that have come out since the show started. Sacramento is -9 at home against Detroit. As much as I'd love to back Sacramento, I can't take them at -9 on the spread. I can't do that. Charlotte is in Washington, -6.5, home favorite Washington. No thanks. Definitely no thanks. And then the other game that has odds is Golden State and Houston. Golden State -8 on the road. No thanks. They haven't won a road game all year. And that continued on in Phoenix. Yes, if they're going to win a road game in Houston, that should be it. They're -330 favorites. I'm not getting involved. Not at all in that game. So the three games that we have lines for in NBA, I have no picks in. Looking at the other ones that I might look at, Knicks at Phoenix, depending on what the odds are looking at for Phoenix, I may look at them. But yeah, NBA tomorrow, not too much. Smaller slate for me on a Sunday tomorrow, surprisingly. Will, anything in the NBA that you like tomorrow?
Nothing in the NBA. I haven't even run my numbers for today yet. I'm trying to do it closer to tip because the injuries are crazy.
Yeah.
So
and there's not very many lines, so
Yeah.
no worries. There's like three games you could choose.
Even today's not like I do it an hour before the game because it just you don't know who's going to be playing. For tomorrow, I have no edge on the hockey games. I have about 7 goals projected in the Columbus, Florida game, but I just checked and it's over 6.5 -130. So day off of hockey tomorrow.
All right, Dave.
Yeah, lines aren't out, but just off of looking at, I've been hitting props, and I'm not a prop guy. I've just been finding in the NBA. I've just been finding spots that make sense, and I'm going to follow those spots. So just giving them out without knowing the numbers. Points, rebounds, and assists. LaMelo Ball, it's been really high. They've been in the mid 30s, and he averages under 30 for his 3 games. And he was hurt, and he's coming back, and I think I'm not sure if he's coming back or not, but I'm going to look to see if it has his picture here on ESPN, but that doesn't mean that he's coming. Anyway, I'm going to look at that. I'm also going to look to hit point total overs for players in the backfield, in the backcourt, so guards against the Cleveland Cavs. I didn't look at their numbers last night, but before last night, they're 21st in field goal percentage opponents against, and their opponents are shooting the 6th best at the 3 versus the Cavs. So the Cavs have a great defense, in the post, but their backcourt's hurting a little bit. So if you can get up, last night I got Terry Rozier. Granted, he got it right at the end of the game, but the guy averaged 20.8 points a game, and his point total was at 20.5. So without the extra kick of playing a bad team, you're getting value already there. So I looked for a point total of a guard that plays a decent amount of minutes of 18 to 24. But again, none of that's out. So how do you know?
Exactly. We'll move on to NHL picks before we get to the best bet segment. Finish off the show. Yes, tomorrow's NHL is not very nice. The 2-game slate that we have, and I'm not going to have anything. Florida Columbus. If Spencer Knight's starting today, Yeah, I want to take the over 6.5, but yeah, it's minus 130. So
If Bob goes today, maybe that plus 117 on the under 6.5 will get some value. Like that's honestly the only. But
I can never take an under with
Yeah,
Columbus.
I don't want to
cannot.
play it. I don't want to play it. That's the only thing on the board that looks valuable, though.
Yeah, in the end, football
Today-
focus for me tomorrow. Pittsburgh, Chicago. No real opinions there either. Obviously, all 4 of these teams are playing today, so it's kind of hard to. We have to see what happens today because that could definitely make a difference. Dave, anything in the NHL? I think you already said you like Chicago, but
I do, but I think on a back to that might be a dog day. If all these teams, it might be just bet a half unit on all the dogs. All the teams tomorrow play today, every single one.
Yeah.
Then it's, I mean, so a lot of
there's
backup.
There's four teams playing 2 games tomorrow.
Okay, so a lot of back. I mean, here's the deal. Look at if there's backup goalies, get in there and do that little angle of the backup goalie is more value than you think they are because they're not that far off. Look at Bobo and Spencer Knight. I guess you don't know who you'd consider the starter there. Well, you would because of more time, but
and even something crazy that I just noticed: Pittsburgh's flying from Winnipeg to Chicago. Chicago has to go from Boston to Chicago. Like it's longer for Chicago. So,
customs too.
Yeah. If anything, I would even think maybe Florida Columbus over 7 at plus money right now. This total might be at 7 tomorrow. But I don't like taking 7s. So
Terry's one of the best football cappers on picks and parlays right now, right?
Yes, currently in 4th. I wasn't there all season long, but NFL has been going great for me on the site. And yeah, tomorrow focus will be football, but I don't have a lot of picks tomorrow, so. As of right now, anyways, that could definitely change.
Hungover anyway.
Yeah, once I get some vodka in me later on, I might be having a lot more picks. But no, I'm gonna try to stay away from my computer.
Get on the book and start pressing buttons.
While we're talking about future NHL picks, Oilers are traveling to New Jersey Monday. New Jersey's
that's a long flight.
New Jersey's going to open as a dog and hit it. It hasn't opened yet, but the books
think open as a dog.
I think the books like the Oilers and the books don't like the Devils, and the Devils are going to open up as a dog. So wait for it.
So you're saying we should Vikings it because the one team is loved and the other one is at home and is hated, and they're a dog.
We'll move on to the best bet segment, and we will start with over under as we usually do here. And there's not a lot. Dave, you said Kansas City Chargers under 52.5.
Yep.
Which is currently the best odds. For me, no total. There's no totals that I'm on currently tomorrow. So I don't have one. Will, any total for tomorrow? No, that's fine. Dog of the day. Shocking, everybody. I'm taking the Minnesota Vikings as my dog of the day tomorrow. Dave, you said you're going Chicago Blackhawks?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Will, any dog that you like tomorrow?
New Jersey Devils on Monday.
Yeah, sadly, I can't put that in because it's not available. And we don't even know if Devils are a dog. I think that's the most stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life because most likely Jack Campbell is going to probably start. So,
I mean, I thought Vegas was going to be open up as a dog today, and they did. So I think it's going to be the same thing.
If Devils are dogs against the Oilers, I will have at least 2 units on that.
Yeah,
at least. Shocking or shock face, yes, Richie.
By the way, guys, you guys look at the lines right when they come out. If I forget, don't do that with hockey. If I forget to, DM me because I want to hit it too.
Yeah, as soon as it opens, me or Will put it in the group chat.
I honestly half the time I sleep through them.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I don't know when it's going to come out, but I might be hungover tomorrow, but we'll see. I will be, but going on to best bets for today. For me, Cincinnati Bengals -3.5. Ryan is going with Pittsburgh Penguins team total over 3.5. He sent it to me in the private chat of the stream of the hockey show. So I want to make sure that it's Penguins team total over 3.5 and not Florida. But his pick, I'm not 100% positive. So check the Getting Wild with Terry and Friends Twitter. And I'll have updated. I'll find out today if it's correct or not. But for now, pretty sure it's Penguins team total over 3.5. Dave, you're taking the Dallas Cowboys. I should ban it and not allow it to happen because we want winners on this show. But I guess I'll allow you to put your donation to the books.
Yeah, I'm going to take them on the money line. They're minus 120. I mean, it's not much difference, but it could be a 1-point game when they win by 1 point.
There we go. Brian didn't send in his picks, but I'm assuming he would be going on Cowboys as well.
He probably is. That would have been fun.
Will, best bet for tomorrow?
I just want to see what the odds are, but I think I'm going to go with the Colts +7.
All right.
That line got worse. Well, it got better if you're betting it. So, I think
Yeah, you can get +7 for minus 111.
Oh, geez, it opened at 10.
Indianapolis did?
Yeah.
But it went down. It went down.
I mean, like 10 days ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say it went down to 6 and then went back to 7.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Minus 111. And that is today's show. But if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the content, smash the like button. We appreciate all the support. We'll be back on Monday for another episode. Get it well with Terry and Friends. Best of luck to everybody in your bets tonight, and we will see you again. Have a good one, guys.